You are listening to Next in Education, the show where education meets real talk. We dive into the conversation working professionals are actually having and looking ahead at the future of education. This is Next in Education. 58,131. That's how many research doctorates were awarded in the United States in 2024 alone. And in the UK, we have 28,000 more. Tens of thousands of professionals every year deciding that the highest level of education is worth the sacrifice, the years, the late nights, all on top of full career. But here is those numbers don't tell you which doctorate was actually right for them. That's the question we are answering today. So welcome to the NXT in Education podcast. I'm Dr. Rana. Today episode from Boardroom to Journal, which doctorate is yours? I have two extraordinary guests with me, postdoctoral candidates at Global Next, both doing things alongside their studies that most people would say it's impossible. So let's meet them. I'm going to start with my first guest. He started his career as a professional dancer and somehow ended up as a global AI and brand strategist, doing a DBA at Global Next University while traveling between conferences across the world. He once said something that I think is the whole reason he is here today. Reinvention is possible at any stage of life. Your previous chapter doesn't limit your next one. Alexander, tell us who you are today.
Oh, thank you for digging within my LinkedIn page. um, I am a proud learner of DBA program. Currently, I have my own business as a consultant, and somehow I keep on jumping from the industries where I worked. The only industry I somehow did not manage and I didn't want to manage was oil and gas. And it was always somehow a wish to improve myself, because at one point experience is not only enough. You want to really understand why something works. And I decided to join to be one of the learners. um, and actually the formula works super well for me because I travel a lot for work. Currently I'm in Tokyo while we record this, and all the lounges of airport have been together with me on this journey, submitting my assignments, reading the comments, applying, replying. Yeah, it has been a journey. It has been a truly an interesting journey.
Okay, wow, that's fantastic actually. So thank you, Alexander, for this. I'll come back to you. So let's go to my second guest. My second guest is a technologist, a PhD candidate at Global Next, and he is researching AI governance, a brand new father. And he described his 6-month-old daughter as the most complex and unpredictable system I have to learn from so far. So, Soham, over to you.
Thank you so much for having me to start with. And indeed, I can safely say it's really difficult to learn from a newborn because they are just so unpredictable. Um, just to talk a little bit about myself, I am based in the UK, in Manchester. I am a technologist. I work into products in the space of cybersecurity. Got really intrigued with research questions, wanted to learn more, a bit like Alexander. I truly believe in the whole concept of improving yourself every day. And that's why putting myself in this grueling journey with a newborn. But I was just speaking to Alexander, and I think it is just so rewarding. You do question yourself every day, but end of the day, the rewards do push you to work harder.
Oh, nice. So, okay, Soham, if we compare between 6-month-old daughter and AI system, which one is most difficult to deal with?
Hands down, 6 months old daughter.
Okay. Okay. So thanks a lot for this honest answer because I know like dealing with like a newborn, I can tell you is really a huge task and you still like added to that to your career, you decided that also to pursue your doctorate. So I can say really you are doing a very amazing thing. So before we get into the big question, I want to start somewhere a little bit different because both of you are doing something most of people they will say it's impossible. So I want to understand what that looks like in a real life. So Soha, you are on paternity leave and you are doing your PhD. And Alexander, you are somewhere in the world attending conferences and business dinners while you are pursuing your GBA. So before we talk about doctorates, I want to ask, what does a typical study day actually looks like for each one of you? So I'm going to start with Alexander because I can see he's laughing. So yeah, let's see.
Um, it's a lot of discipline. And I have a client, a very good friend, who actually calls me a Soviet ballerina because I am very focused and disciplined. And within my more than 25 years of working experience, I learned something that what's the most important for you during the day, you start with that. So I will wake up 5:30 in the morning, and the first thing which I will do after exercise, I will actually do my doctorate studies. Daily, I spend 2 hours on average. And just as well, I think this will question come as well. AI cannot do your studies, so just to remove that straight away. So if you think that you're gonna cheat or upsmart, actually you will not. So better more get ready to get dirty, in
Yeah.
the work. So I will do a lot of research because I'm now in writing my thesis proposal. So I think getting references, research, finding, you have a lot of questioning. But if you have a dedicated time and you have a tempo, it's possible. So that doesn't matter where I was. I was every day 2 hours connected at the system, learning, studying, or checking. So the advantage of the program as well is that we all know what we want to study, but sometime in the parts of the studies you have to learn because you grade it, you have to learn the thesis and the answers of the other learners or students. And then I actually learn a lot of the other topics that I was not even into it or interested, but you somehow open your horizon as well. But in my case, a lot of my friends question how I do it. But I just said we all have 24 hours. So you just need to do a time management very well. That's my key formula.
Fair enough. So, anyhow, I'm going to ask about what people around you asking or like how they think about you, but it's going to be another question, okay? So I can understand that you are saying you prefer that your early morning to start it with your thesis or with your study, then you can do the rest of the work. So let's see, Soham, do you have the same formula or you have different formula to manage your day?
Well, am I allowed to say that every day of mine is different? And I think that's expected.
Okay.
That's expected with a newborn, because I don't decide my day anymore. My newborn does. Right?
Fair enough.
But having said so, I broadly have the same ideology as Alexander has, because I do believe at least a couple of hours of self-study is really required in a given day, and I do try to allocate a couple of hours, because in all honesty, we are all doing so much more other than just preparing for, our doctorate, right? You have to still survive your job. You have to still upskill in your own job. You have to look beyond your present. You have to ensure that you can build your future. You can also, you also have to then think about how best you can deliver in your doctorate. And of course, your personal life is just there, right? So I'm trying to do my best. I am an early riser as well, partly because my newborn rises up so early. She wakes up at 4:35 in the morning, and so do I. But the way I'm structuring my day so far is whenever I get those little pockets, if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because that's the best I can do with. So whatever I can actually afford, I'm grabbing that. I'm trying to make the best use of it. And I really like the point
Good.
Alexander made. AI can't do your study, but I also fundamentally believe AI changes the way you study. And that has made things so much more, at least for me, so much more viable. So yeah, I'm not someone who would say AI is not beneficial. It's definitely beneficial. Depends on how you want to use it.
Yeah, I totally agree that we can't close an eye and say that, no, I don't want to use AI. Actually, this is totally out of reality. But for sure, there is the best way to use it or better way to use it always for everything we do in our life. So as Alexander was mentioning that his client or his friend asked him how you do that or how you manage. So this one brings me to my second question. So when you told people around you that you are pursuing a doctorate alongside everything else you are doing in your life, what was the most common reaction you got? So here I will start to Soham, especially like I believe you were, when you took that decision, you were in time, you are expecting your baby coming soon, or like you have all of these challenges in life. So what is the most common reaction you got?
Hand on my heart, I hadn't spoken to a lot of people about my doctorate.
Hmm.
Being
After
really,
this podcast, they will know. They will call you. So how you are doing a doctorate,
and I'll tell you
right?
the reason. The reason is I've always had difficult questions from my peers, from my friends. How do you manage so much? How do you keep yourself motivated? What do you really want to do? Why are you doing so many things at the same time? And I've never had good answers. So I thought I do not really want to have more questions on me. So better be
Fair
quiet
enough.
and let it slip down. But I think at end of the day, like I said, it's what you really want to do. And you need to ask those hard questions to yourself if you really want yourself to go through this grueling journey. Why are you really after this journey?
Good. So I totally understand that sometimes, yeah, we can't share because we don't know what to expect as answers or we have no justification. But I believe after this podcast, everyone will know and everyone will call you. Okay, we catch you on YouTube that you're doing your doctorate. Okay. So we move to Alexander. Alexander, tell us, like, what is the most common reaction you got?
It is between super crazy and super unnatural. But at the same time, when you have so much a limited time, you don't want to explain, because it takes more time and energy. So you better, instead of explaining why you're doing, you just shut up and focus on the reference research or whatever you need to do, because time is limited. I do share my marks on the digital, but like even people, they don't get it, and somehow as well they don't always dare to ask. A lot of them, they don't know the difference between DBA and PhD a lot. Or some of them will actually ask me if I can write theirs medical papers. For this medical doctors I'm working, they came to me, oh, can you write me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell no, like I'm not doing,
It's not me. Yeah.
I have my things to do. So it is interesting, and everybody will have an opinion, but I rather keep it low profile in that sense and just focus on my journey. And there is a lot to be done, and I don't want to entertain other people's curiosity. They can easily Google it and find whatever they need to find.
Good. Okay, I want just to add one thing here because you always quote your grandmother. So my question, if your grandmother was alive, what her reaction will be?
She will be mega proud as always.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. Happy to hear that.
she'll be, but I will have to explain her that I'm not medical doctor. So then I will still have to explain.
Okay. So now I want to make sure that everyone listening to us are on the same page, because I know some people are turning on today and they have a clear sense about what is DBA and PhD, and some they want to hear from us about the difference between this doctorate and that doctorate. So let's start with the basics. Can you each give me the most honest, I can say maybe plain English version of what you can define a PhD and DBA, and what is the two difference between them? So let's not use jargons. Let's make it okay. In my opinion, DBA is this, PhD is that. Okay, so I'm going to start with Alexander.
Okay, so in my opinion, the PhD often focus on creating a theory, and DBA focus on applying theories to solve real business problems. So I will define it like that. Simple, elegant,
Good.
and I think strong enough to people understand.
Nice. Okay, so as you are pursuing your PhD, so do you agree with Alexander with the definition, or you think you have another definition?
I know 100%. So I would say if you are trying to apply knowledge to solve industrial practices, organizational practices, that's TPA. If you're trying to broaden and deepen the horizon of knowledge, go into more foundational inquiries and research problems, that's a PhD for you. So 100% agree with Alexander.
Yeah, also from my place, actually, if I put my opinion, I totally agree with that. When we are into building new theories or inducing maybe new knowledge, so yes, it's the place for the PhD. But if we are more into using those theories, which is published maybe years ago or being put on previous research, and we want to implement it, we want to see how it really works in the real world, how it can help to solve some problems. So we go to the DBA. So I totally agree with both of you with that definition. So we can move to our next question. My question is little bit is talking about some actual moments. So let's say, what was the actual moment, let's say maybe a week or a month, that made you think I need to do a doctorate? So tell us about that moment, make you to decide to take the doctorate and really apply.
Honestly, I have been procrastinating. I have been wanting to start my journey of getting into a PhD for a while, but I have been procrastinating. And there was this moment when I just told myself, there is no good time. Don't wait for the right time to come, make it the right time. So, yes, it was just that realization that there would never be a good time.
I honestly, like, I 100% agree with you. That is, if you will wait the right time, always you will never have that right time. So we can take, for sure, taking decision, it will take time to put all factors together. But if we keep waiting, we're going to wait until forever. So I totally agree. So let's see, Alexander.
I always, all my life, I work in industry that are constantly evolving, like technology, branding, marketing, healthcare, now AI. And lately, I'm seeing that there is so many so-called self-proclaimed experts without any kind of a knowledge or evidence-based research, documents, papers. And I just got tired listening to all of those egocentric maniacs. Let me be nicely to say like that. So I wanted to have opportunity for me, not for anybody else. I'm not chasing a title for somebody else. I want to have an experience where I can combine international business practice with that evidence-based thinking and knowledge. That was my own trigger.
Okay. Looks nice, because at the end, when we look for to do something for our own benefit, regardless the title, regardless what other people they look at it, I believe is always gonna to come in the best. So I have one question about that, but I'm gonna to keep it for later. Okay, let's move to the next question, which is we all of us, we know that earlier doctoral studies was only reserved for those who want to be in academic life or who want to do research. But what we can see that this thinking actually clearly shifted. Okay, so what do you think driving more working professionals, people who are already deep in their career, to pursue a doctorate today? So Soham, what do you think?
I think it's just a couple of things. So one, I think it really pushes you into deep thinking, right? If you really want to go into that very zone where you are asking the right questions, focusing on problem framing, and trying to get deeper into how to build your knowledge, you would want to get to DPA or a PhD, right? And that's where I would always say it's a bit about what you as an individual want to do and how far you want to push yourself, right? And secondly, I also feel knowledge is much more accessible now. If you think of it, few years back, it was, I don't really think DBA existed or was popular back then. And the whole notion of doing a PhD with a job was non-existent. So platforms and universities like Global Next that actually allow you to pursue your doctorate studies along with your professional career, because I feel like many individuals who do want to do so but cannot afford to do so for valid constraints, because you cannot really leave your job or your business to start learning. So I think that's a big push towards why we are seeing more and more candidates opting for it, because there was always an aspiration, that desire was always there, but for some reason things were not accessible.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Alexander, what do you think?
Well, so Ham reminded me of my journey, and I tried to apply for PhD before, and I was actually rejected. Once was in Paris in political science because I don't have any political experience. Another is another European university because I'm stationary in Dubai as a full time, and I was always looking for the university that I can easily travel to in order that I need to stay at campus. But when I was in Paris and it was simply not possible to leave my work and my business in order just to start the studies. So I do believe as one of those learners, I was trying to find a formula where I can have experience that can give me the speed, that I can have a research that give me precision, but at the end as well, the DBA that can give me both. So, and it somehow everything became a goulash, because you put everything and somehow mixed in
Mhm.
order for your studies to happen and to continue your work. I don't know if I truly answered to your question, to be honest, but this reminded me of
Somehow,
the struggles. This reminded me
yeah,
of the struggles.
yeah. So actually, because your both answers brought me into a question. I was like planning it later, but I want to ask it now. So both of you are doing your doctorate online, right, with Global Next University. I want to ask this question while I'm somehow predicting the answer, but I want to hear it from you. So let's say that if this study suppose or must be on campus, it's traditional doctorate, you must be on campus. What will change? Alexander, what will change?
I look into that option in Dubai actually. For me, will not be possible. The nature of my work is to be mobile, to access and to travel, and I will have to do all one or the second, and then just going for the studies because I can't ask my parents to pay us scholarships and to pay for my life and living. So I was super happy when I got accepted to this program, and I was super thrilled. Uh, and I look for 1 year option because others did not work. So it will not be. I will not be here today. Swear to God.
Fair enough, actually. Okay, so how? If you were like asked to do this doctorate but on campus, what will change?
I wouldn't be here. I don't think I can actually afford to do a full-time doctorate because I have a family to take care of, and there are other responsibilities and commitments. Like I said, aspirations are one thing, but commitments are another. It's
Mhm.
platform like yours that allows you to balance your aspirations and your commitments, and you just cannot prioritize one over the other. So I wouldn't be in this program if it was of all full time.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, fair enough. And just to add into that, because Alexander was mentioning about that 1 year, just because, okay, I believe you were sharing about your experience because, like, for those learners in Global Next University, they're also having options. Even if our DBA is only 2 years, they can even shorten that by using their prior learning experience. So actually, that's what Alexander applied for, I believe, right? You have exemptions of credit from Apple C, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I believe, as you mentioned, both of you actually give me almost the answer which I expected. For working professional, maybe doing like full time or not only full time, being on campus, traveling to campus, be only a limited geographical area is not going to be possible even to do that and pursue the doctorate. So yeah, so now let's go back to our sequence of questions, and here I want to ask, who is the DBA really for? And if I want to make the question in a somehow more direct way, so if someone come to you tomorrow and said, I want to pursue my doctorate, but I don't know what should I choose, whether the GPA or the PhD, what is the first question you're gonna to ask that person? Soham.
I think I would honestly ask him or her to answer a simple question, which is what what kind of problem energize you enough to spend years after it? Is it something that would help improve an industrial and organizational practice? Or is it something which is more conceptual in its own nature, which would result into contributing to newer knowledge? And there lies your answer.
Okay, nice. So Alexander, what you gonna to ask?
A very simple question. What do you want to do within 2 or 3 years time? Because if somebody wants to study and be more primarily in academia, we know the answer. But if somebody wants to transform industries and still connect to the real business, then we know where we need to go. But before we answer the question, what do you want? I think we need to ask the question: are you ready to commit? Because wishing is one thing, delivering it's completely another story. So we all maybe want to be a doctorate, but that's I don't want to destroy your dreams. That's great, but discipline will bring you to that title.
Yeah, I totally agree that uh what Soham shared, that what you want, what problem it will make you really, because at the end, if we lost interest on what we are researching, we will not be able to survive for 2 or 3 years. And as Alexander mentioned, if we are looking to continue in the industry, so it means we are more focused into solving problems in industry, so we can go ahead for the DBA. While if I'm more into focusing, I want to be in academic journey, so that doing those theories, coming to those points, so I believe yes, the PhD is gonna to be the answer for that question. So I totally agree, but also the commitment is another point which we always need to keep in mind. Even if we have a lot of wishes without being able to commit, the commit is not gonna to take us anywhere. So this is, I will not say leading me to my next question, but I'm bringing a question from a point which both of you raise about the AI. Okay, so both of you, as my guest today, you are working in or around AI. Like Alexander, you are working from the brand and strategy side, and
Uh-huh.
Soham is working from the governance side, right? So I want to ask you, both of you, as you deal with the AI, how AI changing what doctorate actually means? And does it change which one you choose to study the DBA or PhD. So what do you think? So how?
I don't really think the advancements in the field of AI would have a bearing on which field you would want to choose, specifically DBA or PhD. I think what AI has done is it has changed the way we function, the way we learn, the way we deliver. But that also means there is more and more room for deeper exploration of knowledge. There is a need to really be able to frame those problems correctly and ask those right questions and get into deeper evaluation and knowledge. So I think AI makes deeper inquiries, DBAs, PhDs around AI much more relevant. It has opened up avenues for learners like myself, for Alexander, and many others who would want to explore areas around emerging technologies like AI. So I think it is an opportunity. It is one that would probably satisfy and satiate your curiosity.
Nice. Alexander?
It's a very interesting question, and I think it has a multi-angle answer. From my point of view, I use AI in the daily work, for sure. But for me, AI somehow is more assistant that I do have. And currently, I start writing my proposal thesis. And the other day, I actually read a great research from states in the medical field where patient, when they go to the doctor, medical doctor, and they see that he or she is using AI, they lose the trust. There is that still urge of human trusting only human. And yes, I think I'm the oldest of three of you. I'm 45. And I will, in my age, in my generation, we learn the book. You know, you take B as Bulgaria, capital, as Sofia, you take another book and you start looking for Sofia, the capital. And in the modern time, younger generation, they discover the word and learning through click. You know, you go to, I don't know, Google, Wikipedia, and you click and you get the data. So AI is still that playfulness discovery. And even if you really know how to use it, you can still get the wrong answer. So it is changing, but in the same time, is not changing because people still want to trust more people than the AI. So it depends from which angle you're looking at. You know, there is no one answer from my point of view. But does AI help me in the studies? Not really. You know, like no, that does not really. It cannot write. It will not do my calculations. It cannot do my IV, DVs, and stuff. No, it cannot. I have to really, really think about it and do my own work. Can help me with the other things, maybe reference check. Even the links on the reference doesn't always work correctly. You know, so do not rely, but find a way as well how you can use it.
Yeah, I totally support actually those both answers, especially when we talk about. I really like the idea which you mentioned that we can use AI to assist or as your assistants, because especially like here Alexander mentioned about the age that he's eldest among both of us. So I will mention about how and earlier on time how we were doing that referencing. Okay, I'm not going to speak about my time. I'm going to speak about other times like 10 years or 15 years ago when one of my family members, she was doing her PhD. All her references were being, she was in the library the whole day and writing the notes on the cards, because even in that time having the printer, even the scanning, she can print but a limited number of pages, even the scanning was limited, so she needs to write on the note all the notes she's taking from other books or papers, and she has like stacks of small notes as her references. So yes, I believe that AI may, I'm not say it can do the research as we said, but it can assist actually. It can make it your focus not into do the things which is anyone else can do, but you are doing the things which is only you can do, which is thinking and finding the relation and connecting the dots. So this is the main idea of how we can use the AI actually in our research, okay, or on our doctorate. So I have this question, which is also come from what you were saying earlier. So beyond the title and letters after your name, what has doctoral study actually done to the way you think? Has it changed how you approach problem, how you lead, or how you see the world? Alexander.
Once I get a title, I will let you know. So it's in the process, but I think it is, you know, the entire process actually in DBA, it's like even in professional life, how do we grow? And I do believe that even the growth is happening when you do DBA, or maybe some people PhD. It's not about chasing the title and that you're gonna be the smartest in the room. It is truly about that combination of international businesses transforming the industries, but as well giving the contribution. How you can leave the legacy or solve one small problem in the big chain of reaction of the systems. So if somebody is doing the studies from my point of view for just two letters in front of your name, I think it's wrong reasoning. But that's my opinion. But if you really want to become a better version of yourself, if you really want, it's like a diamond. You're gonna get cut and shred and grilled and everything that. Then yeah. Because with Dr. Rana, I had one session actually where I call art of grilling. So she is the artist herself. But then if you want to truly become a better version of yourself in every professional point of view, you go for it.
Nice. I want to bring one more question here, actually, before I move to Soham to answer this question.
Yeah.
I know, Alexander, you were attending a lot of business conferences related to your business before you start your DBA. And you are also attending conferences after you started your DBA. Can you tell me what changed? Okay. Because one time you shared with me, but I wanted to share it here.
Oh boy. It was horrible. I saw a study, I will not mention the names, and then it was about skin, improvement on the skin. And some very famous companies are doing the research. I will not mention the name of the companies on the sample size of 4,000 people. And somebody presented me the case of 7, and I'm like, well, that's 3 of us plus my parents plus somebody else in the family. Then there is generally I find that there is more people wanting to be doctor influencers, med influencers, or any kind of a PhD influencer, than really being truly doctoral professionals. So we are having this. Well, I'm seeing this massive change in any kind of a professional conference, that you really straight away you see who knows. And sometimes you don't even need 20 minutes lecture when you can say everything what you know in 3 minutes. In Tokyo a couple of days ago, I saw a gentleman who has a PhD in the rocket science, and within 1 minute what he achieved, the room was silent and everybody was listening. So I do believe the knowledge is the power. Fluff and makeup everybody can have. But if you really have it in your gut and in your bones, and you stand, you know what you're standing for, and you earned it, you really straight away see the difference of somebody who is a fluff and who has truly knowledge power, and it can really change the industry and the game. So my viewing massively changed. So I start asking the questions. I'm like, where is this number from? What's the source? And I'm like, 1982. Are you joking me? And that kind of things. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Nice. And that is what we can say, welcome to the research world, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we direct the question to you. So what has doctoral study actually done to the way you think? And has it changed how you approach the problems, or how you lead, or how you see the world?
I think firstly to talk about the whole notion about whether you are really chasing a title. I think don't if there is something you need not think about when choosing whether to start this journey or not, it is just the title. Do not spend your time thinking about the title because the world does not care. I know about famous professors who do not use doctor, and I know about few influencers who would want to use doctorate just to carry that facade, and it does not help, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's your contributions that would probably help you to either exist or just be another fluff in the room, like Alexander mentioned. So yeah, if you're starting this journey, there has to be a much, much bigger and different reason than just having the title. And to answer your other question around whether I'm thinking differently, well, yes, I think when you are when you're working for the corporate, you're part of the industry, you're trained in a certain way to be quick, to actually be quite action oriented, to just think of delivering outcomes. However, when you are researching, I think at times you have to take a step back. You have to intentionally slow yourself down, and you have to tell yourself, do not conclude too soon. Take a step back. You haven't read enough. You haven't thought enough. There are there are elements you are missing. So take a step back, slow down. And I also think there is something which is just quite fascinating. I think, at least for in my opinion, when I am doing my studies, I'm constantly trying to anticipate what my supervisor is going to be asking me. What is it that my readers, whenever I publish my research, would want to know more? What am I missing? So I think anticipation is something which you really have to carefully start getting into.
Is okay if I add on something, Dr. Rana?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, this is amazing what Soham said, because actually it is true. In my
Yeah.
latest email, because Dr. Rana just got appointed as my supervisor, I wrote what I think, what I did. I'm like, and I'm already thinking what she will ask me already. I'm like, and this is my answer. Like I go with the question, but I go with the answer as well. And you do anticipate. So, but in everything what Soham said, it's not about influencing your client or company, but entire industry. But the time when you do the studies, you have an evidence that you reach something, not only your opinion. So when you do your thesis, I believe you have an evidence that what you study works, it's measurable, it's predict and control. It's just like, oh, by my opinion. No, you prove something, and that's a massive difference.
Oh, actually, I'm like very happy to hear that from both of you. And that really tells me that you are really in the right way and you are really deep in this journey. So that's what we are expecting when you are doing your doctorate. You are reaching to that thinking. It's not the concept of only getting the title, it's the concept of how my thinking changed, because it may be in 10 years time you are in that position where even you don't even care whether you hold that doctor title or no, but your name is there around the world of what you share and how you are thinking. So we have covered what and why, and now I want to go somewhere a little bit more honest. So because I think the most important, most valuable thing that to give someone who is sitting on the fence about the doctorate is the truth about what's actually like when things get hard. So I want to ask this question and be honest with me, please. Was there a moment that where you genuinely thought, I can't do this? And what happened and how you go through that, Alexander?
Well, multi times. And um, I always ask my friends who live in Dubai, because they have time to pray 5 times and this and to that. I'm like, to every God you're praying, it seems like you're having a day of 28 hours. Can I as well pray to the same God? I remember it was crazy when I tried to publish my first academic paper, and the data, and in our conversation. Actually, the other day I checked when I contacted the Austrian medical commerce and to get the data. It actually took me to publish this paper after 8 months and I don't know 27 days. And just
Mhm.
going back and forward with the editing, major revision on academic papers while I'm studying, while I'm submitting my tasks and everything else was mega crazy and intense. Airplanes, jet lags, it just was insane. But how I managed, I just said everything is like a cloud. This will pass. Just
Mhm.
focus on good. And it really helps when you get as well good mark. That gives you motivation as well. I can't be. It's not that I'm lying, but like gives you a good push that when you have a great professor and that every day they know how to guide you and contain you in that process helps. Truly helps. Because we all have 10,000 ideas that what we want to do and can we do this and can we do that, and I check my reference matrix for it's a version 277. It's just it's just, you're like an onion peeling, and you when you really thought, oh, this is it, three new
Ah,
problems came. So it's just focusing, and I will bring my grandmother. She said, just keep on swimming. Australia is far away. Just keep on swimming, just keep on going, and that's it. There's no way back.
yeah. Okay, so Ham, tell us about that moment, whether you face it and how you go through that.
Well, a zillion times. Every day, I would say, right? Not only you question whether you would succeed or whether you would fail, you also ask, why am I doing this?
Mm.
Right? Why am I even putting myself through this whole journey? But I think, end of the day, I agree with everything Alexander said. You have to cut through all the noise. There would be days, when you would question yourself, when you would feel, I'm just not good enough. Or why am I really putting myself through all this pain? But tomorrow is going to be a better day. And that's what we live for. Right. And I think just keep your head down. Something that I've learned in my life after suffering multiple rejections everywhere, both personally and professionally, is that you cannot control outcomes. One simple question I ask myself before I hit my day, if I hit my bed in the night, is, have I done enough today? Am I
Mhm.
true to myself? Could I have done more? Am I happy with what I have done today? And if the answer is yes, I get a good night's sleep. And that's how I operate. I do not try to look
Oh,
too far beyond.
honestly, very inspiring. So before we go to the closing session, I have one last question. So for someone listening for us today, and he is thinking, I want to do this, but I'm too busy. I'm too far into my career. What you gonna to tell them? So
Don't do it. If you
oh,
personally do not think you have a good enough reason to get into this journey, because the worst starting point is when you're trying to convince yourself, right? If you already feel you have a desire, and this is me being very honest, do not take it in a different way. But what I'm trying to say is this is a long journey. And whether you would succeed to see the end of this journey or not would really be a factor of how motivated and interested you are. So if you are not convinced enough to start this journey, better not start this journey.
fair enough. Alexander, what you gonna to tell them?
Well, first of all, from my point of view, there is not too far into career. We still don't have position the president of the world. So get the next
Mhm.
step up. My life, it's very simple. I operated in a very simple way. If you want to do it, jump in the water and start swimming. You know,
Mhm.
there's not like, oh, maybe in for me there's not, you try, you do, you do or you don't do. So I cut the
Mhm.
chase with that. If somebody wants, make sure that you get all informations and resources that you understand. It's a long journey. It's like going for the camping. You have a cold night, you need the water, you
Mhm.
need all these elements to cover. But uh, uh, before we start recording, Sohama and I, we were talking, and I gave him a metaphor of the cardio. We all hate
Mhm.
cardio, but the feeling after, I don't know, 20 minutes, 40 minutes running, it's super rewarding. It is the same. So,
Mhm.
we don't see the joggers with a smile on the face. So it is looks looks very suffering, So, but the reward, the feeling, it's undescribable. It is stunning. It is stunning.
Yeah,
Can I just
I
add
totally agree with that one. Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Saham.
just one quick addition, if that's all right? I was just gonna say, if you feel you're too far in your journey and there's nothing more for you to do or learn, I would say start with self-reflection. That's not a good place to be in. What
Mhm.
I have learned in my life is when you grow higher up, you are more and more humble because you see people around you who are constantly challenging in you, and you know that you're not in the game of proving that you are the best. You're genuinely trying to do your best and take a step back. And that's everything, right? So I think if you feel there is nothing more for you to do, something that comes to my mind right now is when I started off my career as a fresher, and I used to feel I'm working really, really hard, which I I do feel I was. One fine day, one of my managers told me, "I know you're working very hard, but if you think you're the hardest working employee, don't fool yourself. If you think
Mm.
you're working hard, what is your CEO doing?" Right? So I would say
Mhm.
be humble, stay curious. And if you think you have everything you need with you, maybe start with self reflection.
Dr. Rana, can I add
Nice.
something on
Yeah,
this?
go ahead. I
Y-
feel
you
this
know,
this question is very hard.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
beautifully support what Soham said, because in the
Mhm.
journey, it doesn't matter if you're DBA or PhD learner, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
You are required, you will get assignments with 20 references, with, I don't know, study this, criticize the paper, doesn't matter of assignment. And the more you absorb, the more you learn. One thing came to my mind is how much, as a civilization, humanity, we do not know anything,
Mhm.
because it's you have all this knowledge, and you still there are so many gaps in the research, there is so many limitations, there's not a lot of real researchers, like that you can really do. And then when somebody tells me that he or she knows everything, I'm like, this is person not I want to connect with or talk with, so I just move away. And it is a truly the journey, it's not only humble, it's truly vulnerable. And there is that beautiful research book of Brené Brown, when she said vulnerability, it's as well a place where creativity is born. So you will have a days when you want to cry. You will have a days when you're going to stay until 3 a.m. and trying to fix one thing and nothing is going well. But nevertheless, it is truly empowering, because you are not only pushing yourself, you are rebuilding and reinventing yourself in, as I mentioned earlier, the better version. So,
Yeah.
and that is a humble part to you, that is a powerful
Mhm.
part, that is a vulnerable part in you as well. You will have these roller coasters, and it's normal.
Mhm.
We can't
Mhm.
have everyday sunny day. I always say to my clients as well, even airplane has to land to get a fuel, you know, but
Yeah.
humble, vulnerable, it is part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally support these views, and I believe like now we reach the final stretch, and I'm going to give you one sentence. What I need, also the answer to be in one sentence, no
Yeah.
overthinking, just your answer. So to Alexander, complete this sentence. Choose DBA if you.
If you want to turn your intuition into methodology.
Perfect. Okay, so choose a PhD if you.
Yeah. If you want to go into deeper research inquiries.
Perfect. Okay, and here this question is for both of you. One word that describes what doctoral study has done to you, personally, not professionally. Alexander.
First thing which comes to my mind, being grilled.
Fair enough, Saham.
Stay vulnerable, stay open. Taught me both.
Perfect. That's the wrap of episode 1 of the NXT in Education, a global NXT University podcast. We open with 2 numbers, which is 58,131 doctorates in the US, nearly 28,000 in UK. But what I hope we are leaving with today is not a statistic. It's a clarity, confidence, and maybe the beginning of a decision. Thank you, Alexander. And thank you, Soham. Your honesty today is exactly what this podcast exists to create. If this episode moved something in you, share it, forward it, tag someone who needs to hear it. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and come back for the next conversation, because in education, the next step is always yours to take.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. It was amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me in this podcast. Loved it. Loved the conversation. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.